Okay, guys, now we're going to go into the diagnosis of what hepatitis B, guys. How do you diagnose this dangerous disease? But before we go into the diagnosis, I want you to know that what the incubation period of this particular disease is from what 30 to 160 days, guys. That's the incubation period of this particular disease. Okay, but for us to discuss this particular diagnosis, I want us to divide it into clinical presentation and what laboratory investigations. So we have the clinical presentation, clinical phase or presentation, clinical phase of the diagnosis, or you can call it the clinical presentation, and then we have what laboratory phase, laboratory phase for the diagnosis. So these things, they work hand in hand. You understand? And it's very important for you to start with first your clinical phase of diagnosis before you confirm your clinical diagnosis with what laboratory investigation. Because the laboratory phase helps to confirm the clinical phase of the diagnosis, guys. But under the clinical phase of the diagnosis is divided into what acute, chronic, and what resolve. That simply means that what hepatitis could be acute, hepatitis could be chronic, it could be chronic hepatitis B. That means you could have acute hepatitis B, you could have chronic hepatitis B, and you also have resolved hepatitis B, guys. You understand? And all these things, they fall under what the clinical presentation or phase of the diagnosis. Okay, let's talk about this particular phase in details. Now, the acute hepatitis, hepatitis B. This phase is usually silent. It's a very, very silent phase, guys. It's usually silent, or you can call it clinical. Especially in especially in children and young adults. It's very, very silent. That's why they call hepatitis the silent killer, because the acute hepatitis is usually very, very silent or subclinically, especially in children and young adults, guys. Okay, now, what are the symptoms? What are the presenting symptoms of the acute hepatitis? Remember, we said that it is acute. You understand? And once it's acute, it means there is immune response to it. You understand? There is sharp immune response. You understand? The body is trying to react and then destroy the virus instantaneously, and as a result, an individual starts expressing very, very painful clinical presentation. You understand? Okay, first of all, in the acute, the symptoms ranges from mild illness to the fulminating hepatic failure. You understand? The presenting symptom of the acute phase ranges from mild illness to fulminating hepatic failure. And also we have other presenting symptoms such as malaise, other presenting symptoms such as fatigue, other presenting symptoms such as myalgia, guys, and then other presenting symptoms such as arthralgia, pain of joint, right? And also the patient is going to experience nausea, and also vomiting, guys. Also headaches. Gonna have a lot of headaches. They'll be complaining of headaches, and also abdominal pain, guys. They will have abdominal pain. They're gonna have right upper quadrant pain because the liver is situated in the upper in the right upper quadrant region of the abdomen, so they're gonna have what? Right upper quadrant pain. You understand? So, but you know, if the liver is affected, you understand? If the liver is affected, it has a lot of complications which involve what? Several encephalopathies, guys. Several encephalopathies. That's why we have issues that affect what? The brain. You understand? Why? Because the liver play a very important role in the detoxification of what? Ammonia. You understand? And once ammonia is not removed from the body, it tends to become toxic to the body. You understand? And the liver helps to remove ammonia by converting it to urea, and then urea will be sent to the kidney for excretion through what? Urine, right? Yeah. But once the liver is affected, all this process will be impaired. They won't take place anymore. And so therefore, as we already know that what? Ammonia has a very what? Detrimental effect to the central nervous system, guys. You understand? So therefore the neurological manifestation as a result of what? Hepatitis, you understand, could be attributed to what? To the hyperammonemia in the body, because hyperammonemia causes a lot of neurological disorders. You understand? You know, mental retardation. You know, a lot of them, confusion. You know, coma. You understand? All these things. You understand? And also, we talked about fatigue. You know, once the liver is affected, you know, the liver acts as one of the organs in which a lot of metabolism takes place. You understand? It's like the central metabolic system of the body, the liver. And you know, during metabolism, a lot of energies are being generated. And once the body lacks energy, understand, you tend to experience what? Fatigue. You tend to be experiencing fatigue. You know, the patients tend to get tired very quickly. That's one is. That's why we you know, the patient tend to experience what? Fatigue as a result of what? The liver what? Damage. You understand? Okay, now talking about the what? The chronic phase of the clinical presentation, guys. The chronic phase of the clinical what? Presentation. You know, under the chronic phase, the chronic phase is divided into 4 major what? Subphases. You understand? Because it's a very, very dynamic phase. Why do we see it's a very, very dynamic phase? Because it takes place it takes an indolent course. You understand? And the most important symptoms of chronic hepatitis is what? Fatigue. Just like we explained, due to insufficient energy production, fatigue. And also, it's very important for you to understand that when this particular chronic phase, normally the liver enzymes, the enzymes that are found in the liver, they tend to become they're not increased in the serum. Understand? There's going to be a normal level of the serum concentration of all these enzymes, because there's going to be what? Low immune responses in this particular chronic phase. That's speaking generally. Understand? But the chronic phase is divided into what? 4 phases, like I told you. We have the chronic. We have immune tolerant phase. Immune tolerant phase. We also have what we call immune active phase, guys. Immune active phase. Then we also have what we call we have the chronic, or you can just call it carrier phase. You can call it carrier with low replication. Then you can call it what? Chronic hepatitis B, Hep B, with negative hepatitis B early what? Antigen, guys. That is it. The chronic phase has 4 phases. We have the immune tolerant phase, immune active phase, we have the carrier with low replication phase, and we also have what? The chronic hepatitis with what? negative what hepatitis B early antigen phase. Okay, under the immune tolerant phase of chronic hepatitis. From the name, guys, immune tolerant phase. It means that is what you're gonna see a normal serum concentration of what the enzymes found on the liver, guys. Why? Because there is what low necroinflammatory damage to the liver. You understand? Because at this point in time, the immune response, you understand? The immune response is very low. You understand? The immune response is very low, and so therefore, as a result of the low immune response to this particular virus, you understand, it now gives an opportunity for this virus to replicate. You understand? So in this phase, we have what normal liver enzymes. We have what high replication of the virus. It's characterized by what viral replication, because the body is not making any effort to destroy it. You understand? And also there is what low necroinflammatory damage to the liver, because there is what no or less immune response. That's what is called immune tolerance. The immune system tolerates the virus in the body. You understand? So we're talking about the immune active phase.